Welcome back. Now, the last weekend of the festive break proved to be challenging for lifeguards on Durban beaches. Authorities reported one drowning and attacks on lifeguards by 6 men who have since been arrested. Lifesaving SA President Dhaya Sewduth joins us for more on this. Good afternoon to you, Dhaya. Thank you for your time. I understand the sea conditions are making it very difficult for the lifeguards who are hoping and trying to make sure that everyone is safe, those that are trying to make the most of whatever is left of this holiday.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Audrey, and good afternoon to your viewers. Well, in KZN in particular today, sea conditions were much better this afternoon. Unfortunately, the start of the storm, which is expected to last over the next couple of days, would have put a damper on the end to another busy weekend in Durban in particular.
Yeah, there's been incidents of violence that is happening on KZN beaches, one in particular of lifeguards that have found themselves in danger of bathers there. Can you tell us what transpired? What led to that incident of those people that were then arrested?
Okay, I don't have the full report. Unfortunately, I was way down the South Coast yesterday, so I wasn't a witness to it. I made all queries through the SAP search and rescue colleagues that we work with closely, as well as the lifeguards itself, the beach managers, and the full report will only be available tomorrow. But just to give some idea, the lifeguards generally do have a difficult time with bathers. Particularly with bathers that are under the influence of alcohol. As you indicated in the previous report on the road fatalities, the lifeguards also seem to be under pressure, particularly with bathers that come to the beach either under the influence or have managed to slip through the cordon and use whatever means to bring alcohol on the beach, and they would just not comply with the lifeguards' instructions. As we have explained, the lifeguards normally would assess the conditions in the ocean. They would set up a bathing zone, which is the safest. In other words, they would have assessed the risks for the bathers. They would set up the bathing zone. And as you know, the ocean is a very, very, very dynamic environment. It could change from morning to afternoon. It can change from hour to hour. And the lifeguards would move the bathing zone in that particular area, either left of the beach or right of the beach, in a new safe zone. And they would constantly blow the whistle and instruct bathers to follow the instructions to move into the next bathing zone. And we often find that there are always bathers. Most of them listen, thankfully, but you would always get bathers that would end up swearing the lifeguards, becoming abusive because they feel that their fun is being, compromised. When in fact the lifeguards are actually doing this purely for the safety of the bathers. So with this particular one, it could have transpired similarly, and fortunately the Metro Police was on hand to sort it out. But unfortunately for the lifeguards, they often had to endure abuse from some bathers who just refuse to listen.
Yeah, and when it comes to manpower, do you think you have enough lifeguards across the coast in those areas that bathers are allowed to actually swim in? And also Metro Police, is there enough manpower to ensure that, they can control the crowds and ensure that everybody's safe?
Well, I would honestly say at the outset, we certainly need more resources. Lifesaving South Africa itself is a voluntary organization. We are a non-profit organization, and currently we have at least 8,000 members. And on any given weekend or public holiday, we would have at least 4,000 members who would be on duty voluntarily on a rotational basis. The municipalities are obliged to employ professional lifeguards, and we always have an issue with the number of lifeguards that they employ, including the seasonal lifeguards. In eThekwini, I believe that the numbers were much lower than what they were in previous years, even though eThekwini must be applauded for giving seasonal lifeguards a longer tenure. But we certainly believe in a country that has high unemployment rates, more professional lifeguards or even temporary professional lifeguards can be employed. We sent through, I'm not too sure if you had the visuals of what the crowds were like. And if you look at just Durban alone, as well as the other metro areas, certainly there's a need for municipalities to employ or contract more seasonal lifeguards during the peak periods.
Yeah. The work that you're doing at Lifesaving SA, do you think you have enough resources? Are you fully supported to ensure that you have members that actually come out and put their lives out there, especially this time of the year?
We certainly do, and I should at this stage take the opportunity to applaud all of the lifeguards, the Lifesaving South Africa voluntary lifeguards, as well as the professional lifeguards employed by the municipalities. And by the way, we work side by side. Their proactive lifeguarding methodology has certainly, must be acknowledged, because during the peak periods, during the bathing hours, the designated hours, as well as in the designated bathing beaches, there has not been any drowning during this peak summer period. We've had quite a few drownings. I think the number should top 40 since the start of December. But if you look at those drownings, they were either at unpatrolled beaches, non-bathing beaches, or they were after bathing hours, or they were in remote inland waterways like rivers and lagoons, like the one in Sinkwazi Lagoon yesterday. Those were, unfortunately, we can't patrol all of those areas. But as a voluntary non-profit organization, we'd certainly call on government to actually do more. Our country is always crying out about job creation, and Lifesaving South Africa has worked in its 113 years, 115 years to train and qualify thousands of lifeguards. In fact, the 3,500 lifeguards that are employed by municipalities, hotels, water parks didn't appear from anywhere. They don't get this qualification in a university, in a technicon, in a training institution. We literally grow them in the voluntary clubs. We start them off as micro nippers, 6 to 8 years old. Then they go on to nippers, 8 to 14. And then they go on to junior qualifications. And then, of course, senior lifeguard awards. Now, for us to grow tourism, for us to ensure that there's more safety of bathers, both local citizens as well as tourists, there has to be done more by government to ensure. And your question about the policing authorities, we certainly applaud, particularly in eThekwini, the search and confiscation, etc. But we believe that needs to happen every day, not just on the peak days, not on the weekends. It needs to happen every day, and it needs to happen across all municipalities that do have either SAPs or Metro Police or law enforcement agencies to search vehicles, confiscate alcohol that's being brought onto the beach, arrest those who are drinking in public, because those are the kind of actions that can reduce the number of drownings.
Yes, coordinated efforts from all sides. Thank you so much for the work that you do as Lifesaving South Africa. We certainly appreciate it. Very important for bathers as well to follow the rules at the beaches about restricted and non-restricted areas.